Hey everybody, welcome back to our digital marketing series. Tonight we're going to talk about website development, and I'm super excited about having Pratt, who is the Blanding City Economic Development here in Blanding City. So I am super excited to have him talk about his background and how he has done such an amazing job here for Blanding City and for many other companies. And he's going to give you a little background on what he knows and how he's learned all the information that he has learned. We are so grateful for our funding, in part by a cooperative agreement through the U.S. Small Business Administration. And through also that funding also comes from Utah State University here in Blanding. And we're so grateful for that partnership that allows us this SBDC here in Blanding and the opportunity we have to put these series together. And I'm going to go ahead and turn the time over to Pratt and let him go ahead and get started. So Pratt, you want to take it away?
Okay, thank you so much. Let's see here. You can't see my screen, correct?
Not yet, no.
Okay. Let me pull this up then, and we will be good to go. Everyone can see that now? We're scrolling through slides?
Yes.
Okay. Well, let's get going on this. Sorry about my technical difficulties. It's a good thing I'm teaching about websites and not microphones tonight. A little bit about myself. If you don't know who I am, I'm Pratt. I am the Economic Development Specialist. I work for Blanding City. My background is in marketing and economics. I studied down in Cedar City at Southern Utah University. During that time, I worked for Green Enterprises. They are a plumbing website. They have a couple different things, blogs. They have a website for plumbing products and toilets, things like that. Even further back, my dad owns a plumbing and HVAC company, so that's kind of how I had that in there. With Green Enterprises, I wrote content for products on their website, so they were kind of like Amazon, but strictly for plumbing materials. So we wrote content, we found images, and helped design that website. So I did that for 2 years, managed a team there for a little bit, and then from there I went to Brian Head Ski Resort. At that time, I managed all of their digital marketing efforts. That was their social media accounts, their website. They have a summer and a winter activity website, 2 different websites that I managed. Then any print media, web, ads, things like that. Learned a lot there. That was kind of a trial by fire. I did a lot there, worked about 60 hours a week and learned quite a bit. And it was all beneficial. From there, I moved back to Blanding and worked for Eagle AirMed as a regional business development specialist there. Continued to manage social media accounts there, but I didn't do anything with websites for about 2 years. And then when I came back to work for Blanding City, I built 2 new websites for Blanding City. So overall, in the last 8 years, I've had about 6 years of website development and management, and it's been awesome. So I hope as I go through this tonight, you all feel that I'm worthy to be here and that you can learn from me and that we can work together and answer any questions anyone might have. Real quickly, I wanted to know who's on the call, whether that's through Megan or just through people I'm meeting their mics. I wanted to know who was on the call and, are you building a website? Are you revamping a website? Do you have a business, a product? If you could just take 1 minute and kind of give me a brief summary, I'll take notes, and that way I can help answer questions as we go.
Why don't we start with Jennifer? I'm just going to go in on sides of what I see in boxes.
I am a branding photographer, and so I have a kind of photography website, but I also help people to brand themselves. I taught last week, so that's my area of specialty. And the reason I'm on this call and really excited to learn is that I want to switch my website over to have an education component so that I can offer actual branding coursework on my site. And so I wanted to learn more about the whole process.
Okay, awesome.
Shane, why don't you go next?
Okay, Pratt. I'm Shane Dieter from Ssl. I have a custom boot and saddle business, and we're looking to grow and expand our website to an e-commerce. So that's basically what we want to do, is learn how to build an e-commerce site.
Very cool. Is Carrie there with you as well? I know
she
was on.
Yeah,
yes.
She is.
Yeah, I'm here.
Shane, sorry, let me ask a question. Shane, are you Cody's dad or relative, Cody Dieter?
Yeah, I'm his older brother.
Okay, awesome.
And then Carrie's here, but she said she's just trying to learn the same stuff so that she can help me. So
great.
Angie, why don't you go next?
Hi, this is Angie Johansson with Alloy Solutions, and we have a website. It's kind of a bare bones website, and I just want to learn more about keywords, SEO, you know, all of that. I have very limited knowledge in this area, and I know our website definitely needs some work so we can reach a bigger market.
And then Talia.
So I actually have two companies that are involved with it, and the reason I'm teaching this is actually for strategic. I do quite a lot of things, but I do graphic design, grant writing. I also run and help teach about merchant services and giving people access to not just having to use the retail merchants that they can, but actually going straight to the brokers or the wholesalers so that they get better rates. And so those are some of the things that I do through that. I am actually going to build my own website. And so that is what I was excited to do and learn about.
Okay, is that everyone then? We're good?
That's everyone so far. Yep.
Okay, perfect. All right. Well, we'll just jump in from the beginning as we go through. Hopefully I'll answer everyone's questions. And as you see fit, feel free to interrupt or ask me a question and I can try to help answer that. I'll have some examples at the end of things as well. So, and then we'll do a 30-minute question option as well. So just kind of starting from the beginning, if you're just getting to where you're going to build a website, which it sounds like that fits quite a few of the people attending tonight, the first thing we need to do, and that you should do, is research and create a budget for your website. And in doing that, the reason being is that websites can range from, you know, they all say they're free. That's not necessarily true. Most of the time it's anywhere from about $10 to $100 a month. And there's different platforms that you can get different things in. And depending on your budget, there might be platforms that are better for you and what you're planning on selling that might be better for you as well. So research, and that, you know, that goes into, you know, maybe researching a competitor's website and what they use. And sometimes at the bottom of their websites, it'll say who it's powered by, whether it's Wordpress or GoDaddy or Wix or someone like that provides a website, or WordPress as well. And then the other part of that is just a budget, is what you're comfortable spending and how much you feel you're able to spend, because a lot of these, you know, they can get expensive relatively quickly if you don't know what you're doing, but if you've researched it, you might find, you know, different tools and apps within the website that'll work better for you. And I'll go into that more as well at the end. Step 2 is pre-development. Again, with building a website, it's you know, line by line, it's brick by brick. It's nothing, it doesn't need to be quick, so don't feel like you've got to know everything to jump right into this. But it's beneficial to find a website similar to yours, and just kind of go through their website, use it, pretend you're a customer, put a few things in your cart, or if they're an informational website or a blog, kind of go through and just start a web or a list of pros and cons and things you didn't like, things you like. Some things aren't user friendly, and you always want your website to be as friendly as possible to your customers and users. And it's best just to do that on paper. Just get out a piece of paper, write it down, scratch out ideas, circle ideas that you like and love. And that way you can have a physical copy of what it is you like. Sometimes it's hard as you go through and you look at something, you go, I like that. And then a week later, you've forgotten what it is you like. The next part would be building. And, you know, some of you might be paying someone to do that. We'll talk about that in a little bit as well. Or building it yourself. Take your time, do it right. And then on a subcategory, I would say the same thing with your social media, your Google presence, and your domains. Take the time and do those right the first time so you don't have to go back and change them or be held hostage to someone else that might have built your website for you. And then lastly, and I will go through all these in more detail, the redevelopment of your website. So as things change, some of these bigger sites, they add features weekly, if not monthly, that can update your site and make it a little bit better and easier to use. So it's important to continually, you know, spend 5-10 minutes a week researching, seeing what else these websites are providing. And when I say websites, you know, Wix, GoDaddy, Squarespace, they're all a website that provides you to manage your content on your website. So it's kind of a website to website model. So when I refer to websites, you know, when you look at their website and what they're coming out with, that's where I'm saying you can find some of your researches. They'll send emails and things like that of what they've done to upgrade and things that can be added to your site. And it's just important to keep up on that software, change images out as often as possible, make sure your links aren't broken, some of those simple things. But we'll go into that a little bit more here in a little bit. So step 1 under researching and budgeting for your website. There is no such thing as a free website. If you did a basic website with GoDaddy, Wix, or Squarespace, some of those, you know, you're not going to have a domain. It's going to say prattred.wixsite.com, and that doesn't look super professional. So typically to buy a domain, you know, it might be free or it might be $5 a month. It just depends on the domain. And then different things kind of start coming along as well. Some only have a few gigabytes of space, so you have to pay for space every month. You can speed up your hosting capabilities, and that could be a few dollars a month. You may have a limit of 1 to 10 pages. You may have a limit of 20, but different things will all end up costing more and more. An example of that is Blanding City. So blanding.city, our website, is $46 a month. We've had it for 2 years, and that's roughly $1,200, $1,300 that we've spent in those 2 years. And we have a couple of different things. We have a calendar that we pay for. We have some SEO that we pay for, and we pay for a business package on Wix, which is, we just pay once a year annually. That's about $300 annually. Some of those things, though, we've paid for, the ability to have video on our websites, things like that. But I've got roughly, I would say 20 pages on that website and quite a few images. So a relatively high-end website on Wix, I can tell you, is about $40 a month. You could easily get that down to 30 with a few different things. But a real quick Google search will, I have some links here, and I'll just pull up, we can do Squarespace for an example. What you'll see is a lot of these plans, hopefully that zoomed in and you can all see it. What you'll see is they'll have different plans that get you different things. And so some of these are 18, 26, 40, and then the list goes, you have unlimited, unlimited storage, you have, it speeds up your mobile view so that it loads up a little bit quicker, things like that. You can get one free custom domain probably for a year or two for free. The Ssl Security is included in quite a few packages, but that's something you always want to have. If you're not familiar with the SSL, that is when you type in www.website.com, there'll be a little lock. You can kind of see it right here. If that's locked, your website is very secure. If it's a little unlocked icon, it's usually just HTTP, not HTTPS. And so it's not quite as secure. You want to definitely have that SSL in whatever package it is you pay for. But you can see, just for $6 a month, the list is much, much longer over here, as is the storage and what it gets you. And then as you scroll over, there's just different things. But typically with any of these websites, this is what you'll find. They'll probably have one that's $5 to $10 a month that gets you some stuff, and then it can go all the way up to $50 or $60 a month. And that, includes custom emails, for the Ssl individuals, you might be able to run your emails all through your website or through a Google email as well. But they try to provide whatever they can in these packages, and you can easily see what you're getting into before you buy it, which is really nice. So there's no tricks there. And so I'm going to keep going on. If you have a question about budgets and things like that, we can come back to that. Pre-development do's and don'ts. So this is my don'ts and don'ts page. You might think that's kind of weird. It's usually do's and don'ts, but my 2 don'ts for when it comes to building a website. If you have the time and you have internet and a computer, I would highly recommend struggling through building your own website, because what you will save in paying someone, you will learn and be able to do everything yourself, and that way you won't be, stuck to someone else. And so, for example, I built a website in August for a company on my own time as a freelancer. And I went on vacation, and they wanted me to do a bunch of work, and I did not have my laptop with me on vacation. And so that company at that point in time was hostage to me getting back to my hotel and using their business center to update their website. And it wasn't, life or death, but they wanted it done right then and there. And I just simply wasn't able to do it. I had let them know I was going to be on vacation, but they did not plan ahead. And anyways, you can see how if you wanted to change one simple thing and you don't know how to do it, you're kind of held hostage to the individual that does that for you. So I highly recommend struggling through it and watching YouTube videos and asking people around you maybe to help, but the 10 to 20 hours you're going to spend struggling and learning will benefit you 5 years down the road Whereas if you pay someone to do it, it'll benefit you then. But then as you need things changed, or if that person quits or doesn't do websites anymore, you kind of become hostage to them, and it makes things a lot harder for yourself. So my first don't would be, don't pay someone to do it unless you absolutely have to have someone to do that. A lot of these websites are really easy. Once you get working on them, you can figure it out, and like I said, watch YouTube videos for free. And then the second don't is don't be afraid to copy a website. So if you see a website that you like their tabs, their menus, their layout, their design, there's no need to reinvent the wheel. You're obviously going to use your own content, your own words, and your own imagery, but you feel free to use their layout and kind of insert and copy and customize your website to look like theirs. There's nothing wrong with that. Google won't punish you for having a similar looking website. So don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of that. And then lastly, under pre-development, map out your website before building it. So do you want one page? Do you want to fit everything on one page? Do you just want kind of a, do you just want to have 3 or 4 pages, or do you have to have a more complex website that needs 10 pages? And how do you fit those pages underneath individual tabs? Things like that. So it's good to just note down what it is you want to be on your website. You can map it out, and that way as you start building, you can say, okay, I got my home page done. You can check it off. And then you say, well, I need an about page. And so then you can build an about page and you can check it off. Then maybe your contact page is not underneath your about page. So then you can check that off. Or your store, if you're selling a product, you can check that off as you build it and learn as you go. But overall, it just makes things a little bit easier to know what you want before you start building. And that way you can not feel as overwhelmed, and building becomes a little more simple as you start checking off things, because you know you're getting closer to being done with that. Building your site. My biggest takeaway here is to take your time. So whether your business is currently existing, or if it's, you wanted to start in a month, do it right the first time. And the reason being is, typically when someone starts a business or they revamp their business, you tend to share that with your friends or your business's current following. And you never want to tell someone, hey, go check out my website, but it's only 20% done or even 80% done. You want to be able to give them a fully functioning website where the links work, the tabs work, it works on a phone, it works on a desktop and a tablet. Because first impressions will matter as people share your information and your websites and your hard work. You really want that to be look really well and look really well done, so that people don't think that will reflect your product or your business. If your website doesn't look good, they may think if your website doesn't look good, they may think your product is not going to be good as well. So it's worth it to spend that time and get it done right the first time. Up until this point, do we have any questions? So main questions would be, do you have a question about pre-development? Do you have questions about pricing and research? Is there any questions regarding those 3 topics?
I just want to echo 2 things that you've said here. Number 1, if you can do it yourself and struggle through it, then do it. I've made the mistake of having companies do it and then not learn it myself. And then every time I've needed something changed, whether it be on an e-commerce site or just on a regular website, I'm stuck to having them do it. and it's really hard to stomach the invoice that they send you, and the amount of hours that they seem to think that it needs to take on something that you know that you can take care of. So the amount of money that you'll invest even on the maintenance of the site, because once you build it, it's not done. You have to maintain it and do your SEOs and keep things up. Then you'll continue to put money into it. So I have to agree on that one. If you can do it and you can learn it, keep that up. And then the other one is take your time. One of the sites that we have done, or that I've done, was launched before it was ready. And it's really hard to have somebody call and tell you about misspellings and errors, or have a broken link. For example, your booking link is broken and you don't know that for 6 months, and you wonder why you're not getting clients booking through your site. You just assume that you're not getting the SEO rights or things like that. Even if you have another company go through and build your site, you assume that they check all that stuff for you. Check it yourself. If you have somebody else go through, make sure all of that stuff lines up, and do it before you launch it. You should have like a pre-building launch site that they work before they launch it, that you should go through and check. And don't launch it until you're actually ready, because once you launch it, that's when the additional bills start coming in for your maintenance of your site. So if you're having somebody else do it, or even if you're doing it, before you launch it and have people look at it, go through and check that stuff, because it's really embarrassing when it should say yours and you have you on there, or whatever that might be. And even the companies make big mistakes like that, and it comes and looks like you did it. So.
Thank you for that, Megan. Is there anyone else that has anything? If not, we'll continue.
Yeah, I have a question, you guys. So is there like a YouTube person video out there that you would recommend to watch and learn some of this stuff, the tips and tricks?
I can add, so for example, I'll sound like I'm an advertising agent for them. Every site I build, I use Wix.com to use, and I use them for 3 reasons. I've built a personal web page with a different user, and I just didn't really like the money they were investing, back into their product. Whereas I felt like Wix was really pumping a lot of money into making their website better, and which then in turn made my website and product better. And then because I've used them so much that I'm just really comfortable with them as well. But Wix has their own YouTube page. And so, most of the questions you'll think, well, I can't, I'm not sure how to set up a store. And Wix has, a 10-minute video that walks you through how to set up a store using their site. And so that works out really well. But with any of these websites, almost anything you can think of to type in, there's going to be, Wix has a Reddit board, or just a IT board of their own where questions are answered and people comment on how to do things. So those are 2 options. But then, just for an example, if you went to YouTube right now and typed in, Wix, I want to set up a Wix store, e-commerce store, you'll find 10 videos with over 200,000 views on them. And so you'll be able, if one of those is 3 years old, you probably don't want to watch it. But if it's 9 months old, it's probably pretty current, and you'd be able to do, everything that they're saying in their website. So typically these bigger companies, they have their own YouTube page, but then there's a lot of YouTubers out there that do this for a living as well, and they're really good at explaining it. And some of their videos are 5 minutes long and some are 25 minutes long, and they'll walk you step by step, just like I am right now. It'll feel pretty formal, of them teaching you. They'll pause it and let you kind of keep up with them and things like that. So overall, you'll have a pretty easy time finding resources the more well-known the site is that you're using to develop your web page.
I can also, if there's enough interest, Angie, in like a specific site like Wix or something like that, we can also do more classes specifically on that type of a development or that type of websites or different things like that. I just have to have the interest in that. But I can easily find an expert on that specific thing, and we can do more classes on that. These are very broad classes that we're doing on this series, but if there's like a specific thing that we need to go deeper in, I just need to know, and I need to know that we have enough interest to fill a class, and I will make sure that we bring that in. So that's another option.
We actually have a Wix website, and you know, everybody has their personal preferences, and I've heard, you know, some people say WordPress is better, you're going to get more, Google's going to recognize a WordPress website more than it would a Wix website. And so you know, I've been thinking, oh gosh, I've got to figure out how to make a WordPress website. And the Wix is very, it's pretty easy to use. I definitely have struggled. I mean, if you look at the website, it's not great. I am looking at Pratt's website and it's amazing. I'm like, this is a Wix website? This is awesome. So yeah, thank you. I'm going to check out those YouTube videos for sure. I didn't know that they had that on there. So
yeah, they have their own YouTube page. And what I will say for WordPress quickly, WordPress is great for blogging, but if you don't have any background in development or coding, WordPress becomes pretty difficult to use, and you'll find yourself, again, you can find the stuff on YouTube for WordPress, but it's typically for someone that has, you know, thousands upon thousands of people coming to their website and probably 2 or 3 people building out the website in-house type thing. WordPress can get complicated really quickly.
Yeah.
Just so you know. So yes, it may show up a little bit better on Google, but it's typically 2 to 3 times harder to build a WordPress website. You have to get a different domain from somewhere else and host that domain and the WordPress site, and things like that can get complicated if you're not familiar with it, as well as coding. So
yeah. And like you were saying, if you have a customer who needs to make a change, I want to be able to do that myself. And I know on Wix you can. And I've tried to do it on a WordPress for work, and it's a little tricky, and it's scary. You know, you're like, oh, I don't know if I dare really do this.
Yeah.
It's intimidating.
It is. It can be intimidating for sure. So I'm going to keep going quickly over this. Last bullet point of mine was just development. And so let's pretend at this point that you've already, you know, you've started your website. And I can go into details as well, like, you know, the exact processes like 1, 2, and 3. But this would be 3 in the form of you kind of started, you know, building your website. Clear information is important. You're thinking, well, that's obvious, but sometimes it's not. So, you know, Blanding City's website, you would probably think that like maybe the about page is really visited, and it's just not. So some of that information we kind of hide. We put it somewhere else. For those that are really curious, we let them click a few times to get there. Whereas if you look on that website, we have 9 tiles, and those are the 9 most visited web pages or pages within my website. We have the address and the cell phone number or the office number posted on our footer, so that whether you're on a phone or a tablet or a desktop, you know, that information is very, very easy to find. If you have a product that you're selling, you know, you want to be pretty precise as to what it is you do or what it is you sell and why that's unique, but you also don't want your entire company story to be the first thing they come across either, if that makes sense. So there's a fine line there of explaining but not overdoing it or underdoing it. It's just providing the customer enough information to keep their interest going, or, you know, maybe why they should buy your product, but not why, you know, not necessarily why you started the business or things like that. There's different places to tell your stories. So, and storytelling is important, but for different folks, it'll be, you know, different information you want to put there. As we were talking about different things within the website you have to pay for. And so those tools are typically worth it. For an example, on Blanding's tourism webpage, we pay to feature our Instagram feed on 4 or 5 pages so that people can view Instagram as they're viewing the website. You know, that's $5 a month, and we pay for that. I have an SEO ranking app that I pay for that helps me give suggestions and things like that. That's $4.95 a month that we pay for as well. Those are worth it for sure. And then we use an analytics as well. Google's is free, but with Wix's, the visitor analytics is free as well, with the $300 a year that we pay. So some of those tools are really nice because they tell us how often web pages are being visited, which ones are the most visited, where our visitors are coming from. And some of those things really matter for us, and some of them benefit how we target individuals. So those tools are important. So whether it's a free one from Google, whether it's from the website itself, if it's got high reviews and you feel like it will benefit your business, you can always do a monthly subscription to that app, is what they call them. And then if you feel like it's not working out, you can unsubscribe and, you know, not pay monthly. And then the other thing is listen to your data. So again, the tool is what gives me that data. And so I typically look at my bounce rates. If you're not familiar with the bounce rate, if I click on the web page and I'm only there for like 10 seconds and I go back, they call that a bounce, because it typically means the individual did not find what he or she was looking for in that 10 seconds. And so they went back to their Google search or to their home page, and they look at that as the information wasn't available that they wanted. And so they clicked back instead of forward. They call that a bounce rate. I like to know my bounce rate on my pages. And then what pages are visited. This is important because you might think there's a page that's really important and it just isn't. I'm not trying to be rude when I say that, but you might think that a photo gallery is really, 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 really important and it might only get 5 views a month, whereas your pricing page gets 2,000 views a month. You know, so you want to prioritize the optimization on that pricing page and not necessarily the photo gallery page or whatever it might be. And then you can also see where people spend time on your website, which is nice. And that in turn allows you to be innovative with your website. You know, use different pictures, upgrading your links, listening to the people and what they say, you know, allows you to build your website and update it little by little. So kind of just some quick, easy tips there. This next site, we'll just kind of go over some of the websites I've been involved with and some of their stories. So real quick here, we can go to Blanding City. As this loads up, Blanding City's webpage was really bad. Before I got here, it was not user-friendly. It was built in 2013, so it was about 7 or 8 years old and had never been updated. So we went in and did a full build up from the ground up. And, you know, little things, we change this background image every 2 months. I try to change that with the seasons. You know, right now I have a fall picture of Allen Canyon. You know, just simple things like that we change. And then, like I said, as these links change, I'll move them around. And so, you know, as builders or users tell me that, you know, wellness center becomes more important, I might shift it up here for a few weeks or for a few months, especially while sports are going, and then put it back down. You know, utilities are always a really big thing, so we keep those up on top. You know, little things like that. It's just easy to change. You can change these colors. You can change these backgrounds. Just little things like that. Let people know that you're constantly at least trying to, you know, catch their attention and do something different. But overall, you know, government tab, that's where your city council notes are going to be. That's where you can find the emails to the city council, to the mayor. We have different reports that we have to put up here. You know, the CCR reports, no one ever is going to look at that, but it's something the state requires that we put. So we have a tab that, you know, we're allowed to put relatively useless information under. Services is, you know, a very commonly clicked tab. And so we've put those in kind of the similar order of these 9 things down here, but, you know, where people can find information and just simple things like that. But then we have a contact, a departments, and about pages. So, you know, really simple things here. Some of these are linked to just PDFs. Some of them are linked to Google Docs, and then some of them are linked to, you know, back pages and different things like that. But it allows us to be flexible with those things. Close out of here. Skyridge Farm. So this is my sister. Her brother-in-law and sister-in-law live out in Virginia, and they are co-owners of a wedding venue. And this is a good example. They wanted to pay me to do this website. I said, I will sit down and teach you. My sister knew nothing about websites, social media, nothing. And she was able to build this site. And, you know, as you kind of look at it, this is the wedding venue that they have. You know, this is a new image from this year. They've got it on rotating every few seconds, the image changes, but then they go in and they change these images so that people can see them and kind of what the inside of that barn looks like. And then real quickly, you know, give us information. What do they offer? You know, they offer an updated barn that's in the Blue Ridge Valley of Virginia, you know, just real quick where it's at. They have images of the venue so that people know there's indoor, outdoor options, things like that. And then they have wedding images. They have images of the exterior, the interior, so that people can get familiar with it, and then how to contact them. And then another important thing is they have a contact form on the front page. Google likes to see a contact form on the front page, so that's really nice. So, you know, this website took about a month to build. They took their time. They pay for this calendar feature, so you know when the wedding is booked or not booked, and they only do weekends. That's why you'll see weekends there, not weekdays. But they paid to have a little bit prettier calendar and some of the custom features. So I think they pay, $28 a year or something like that for this calendar feature. They do have a gallery. They have a tour that you can book, and then they have the floor plan. I'm not one that cares, but I think a lot of their, this would be one of those pages I thought would be really dumb, but they've had a lot of success with it. A lot of the girls that want to get married, they want to see the floor plan. They want to know how big the space is, so they know how many chairs, how many people they can have, where the stairs are, where the dining deck is, some of those things. So it's something that I thought, wouldn't be that valuable. We could have just done a PDF for them to click, but we got it to where it laid out on the site and it's a little more interactive. But it definitely pays for them. they ended up, whenever they get a Google review, they put that. They update their frequently asked questions. You know, once COVID hit, they changed their frequently asked questions to COVID related stuff. And then they've also added a store so that they can pay for their wedding online as well. So again, you know, these were people that had no idea what they were doing, but they just took it step by step. They watched videos, they asked me for help. And after about a month or two, you know, we had the website up and running. It looks good. Receives quite a few visitors every day and every month. So they've been able to really improve their business with just a simple website. Before, they were taking strictly phone calls from their Google listing and didn't have a website. So this worked out really well. The San Juan ATV Safari, I recently rebuilt that website. If you're not familiar, that's a big four-wheeler and side-by-side safari that takes place in September every year. But I wanted to show just these two websites, the KitKat and the Get Rest. I have nothing to do with those. They were just ones I found. They're single-page websites that are effective for their products. So everyone knows KitKat, that's the candy bar, nothing crazy there. This website's one of the issues, it does take forever to load up, but it is a really nice website. So let's let it load up. You can see they at least have a loading bar so you know how long to wait. I would recommend your website not taking 20 seconds to load like this one does, but once you see the final product, it is really nice. So there you have a KitKat, and then as you just kind of scroll, different things appear. They just have a few more information about like their wrappers and how it's done. And then this is a cool breakdown of how the KitKat is inside and out. You got the wafer bar and things like that. But anyway, really simple. I say really simple. For KitKat's presence in the world, this is a very simple website to have for people to interact with. And then Get Rest is just a simple little wood, a wood panel that holds phones, keys, watches, things like that. But it's a really, really clean website. It's out of San Francisco, and they kind of tell that story as well. But really, really modern, but again, just, you know, it's a really simple one-page website for their product. All they have is this one page and then the store page where you can buy stuff. But here, you know, they have different things. And this type of a scenario here where you see that, like, as you hover over it, you know, those are things that can be achieved on Wix and things like that. It just takes a little more time and research, but they just have those three products. Here's some really well done imagery where they've added text to it. This is probably just one picture they made in Photoshop and then uploaded it, because there's no links or anything. And then again, just really pretty images, links to their social media, and then their story. And, you know, that's about it. They have the ability to buy those three products and kept it really simple. So as for websites, let me go through this real quick. So again, Wix, we have two websites that I manage under this account, which is our blanding.city and then our visit blanding page. And I'll wrap this up here in about 10 minutes, but I just wanted to show you. Typically, step one is you choose a business, right? You choose Wix, Squarespace, GoDaddy, WordPress, whatever it is. You'll choose them and you'll create an account with an email. So typically, you know, for me, it's my Blanding City email is what I gave them. And then from there, you can kind of tell them what it is you're looking for. and they'll recommend a bunch of templates. And so with these sites, what they'll do is they'll give you a free template that might be, you know, really modern. It might be kind of more of what you're looking for, but there's thousands of them for you to look through, and you can preview them. And then what you'll do is you'll say, I want to use this template. You'll click it, and it will assign, you know, like a domain, like it'll be like Wix site /58762.com, you know, just a really simple domain. And from there, don't buy a domain yet. You want to just start building and kind of changing out. And so in those templates, you know, maybe it's a font that you want to change, or it's, you know, the background images or the text. And you'll slowly go through and you'll start changing those things. And then from there, once you're ready to go, then you'll buy a domain. Like I said, a lot of these, if you're in the second or third tier, it'll let you buy one domain for free. And you'll buy that through Wix. They'll have a spot for you to buy that domain. It'll connect it there for free, which is really simple. A lot of the sites have that option. So once you do that, then typically you will publish your website, and then it will go live for everyone to view. In the meantime, there are ways to share your website for people to see and to test it out and things like that. So don't feel like you can't show it until it's finalized. There are ways for you to show it as you go through the process. So once you've done that, I just wanted to kind of show how easy it is to edit these websites. So we'll do the tourism one. It's a little bit prettier than the blanding.city. So again, it loads up, you know, it'll allow you to change different things, you know, domains. It'll give me some readouts here that you'll be able to see and whatnot. You know, there's settings, there's your domain, connecting social accounts, accepting payments, setting up emails, all the things that you can do within, you know, this website. So that's really nice. And then for the example of the apps that we talked about, I pay for the site booster. The visitor analytics came for free. The Wix Pro Gallery is free. The Instagram one, I think, is like $45 a year. And then Wix Forms is free. But you can manage those things through there as well. But, you know, this is visitor analytics. So as I mentioned, with tourism, we want to know where people are coming from, what web pages they like, things like that. So, I'm not interested. Yes, I understand. Again, you know, those are things they're telling me, hey, we've updated your site. We've updated our site, so here's how you can use those new tools. I'm not interested in those at this point in time tonight, but the ability to see, you know, where they're coming from, what they're using. So this individual used Windows 10, so they're on a desktop. This person was on a phone. They're on an Apple phone, so that's nice to be able to know. And then I can click and find out, you know, where they were geographically in the world as well. So you can kind of see where people visit us. America's been a big one, but even here we've had a few from Australia. Anyways, it allows you to see these things, which are really nice. And this is one of those things that, you know, you don't have to worry about. It'll install itself and track for you. So let's go to editing a web page. So I don't recall what the template was for this website, but I do know I went to a travel blogger. I really liked this individual's website, and I just took pieces from her website and incorporated them into this template. And I revamp this website about every 8 months, is in January and in August. I typically go through and, you know, change out different things, backgrounds and whatnot. But with the template, you know, it's going to be the same thing. You'll just click on whatever it is. You know, I can click here. I can change this background. I can make it stretch the whole width, or I can make it stretch to this dashed line. This dashed line is the average size of a tablet. So tablet, when someone's viewing your website on a tablet, it will view it as if it is a web desktop. So this thing kind of tells me, hey, keep your words within this guide, so that if a tablet views it, they'll be able to see those things. You know, I can change this text. I can change the background, the font, you know, bold it, unbold it, those type of things. You can move it up and down, move it over. You can center it. You can, you know, come in here and change, you know, the layouts, things like that and whatnot. But then here's our most visited areas. Let me preview this so you can see. My screen's a little different than yours, I'm guessing, because I can barely see it from where I'm at. But I kind of have a light pink overlay over all these images so that they're all uniform. And then as you click on them, that overlay goes away and you can click on links. Just some different things like that on how they can learn more. And then this is our Instagram feed, so that people can visualize what it is they're coming to see in San Juan County in the Blanding area. And pretty simple there. But, you know, again, you just set these up. You set up different things, and it gets a little more simple as you use it. But I have, you know, different tabs up here. You know, stay is my lodging. Play is what there is to do in town. Eat are the restaurants. Nearby attractions or what's close. You know, this is a really simple page. You know, city limits, what's in 10 to 15 minutes, things like that. They've all been linked. And whatnot. So really simple to see. You know, this is a blog. I've linked to a blog that receives quite a bit of visitors for Valley of the Gods on this certain page, so that people can come through and read about that blog. Let's see. Anyways, you can go through here and view your pages. You can see how many back pages there actually are within this one website. You know, just really simple things like that. So that's why I like this. We're working on a Four Corners campaign, so you can see these type of things where I have some images and text and whatnot. But sometimes a web page will take me 5 minutes to build, and sometimes they take 2 or 3 days for me to build. And so it just really depends on what it is you're doing. But overall, you know, this is typically what you'll get with Squarespace, GoDaddy. Like I said, WordPress is very similar, but it allows you to be a little more detailed in code and, you know, do different things there. But overall, what you're getting from Wix, any of these sites is going to be similar. You know, there's places to upload images, to add, you know, headings and things like that. One thing I wanted to share really quick as well. So when I built this website, I did not have the words Blanding, Utah, or lodging on my lodging page. You're thinking, well, duh, like you should have done that. And I just didn't have it. And so this goes back to what Megan was saying. We were relatively rushed on this website to get it out. And I thought, well, they're clicking stay, they'll know it's lodging. And that's true, the person will. But Google won't. So Google wants to know what is in this space and why it should pull it up. And so I had to put in Blanding, Utah lodging so that if someone types in places to stay or Blanding, Utah lodging, Blanding hotels, then Google says, well, there's this one website and it has links. That's kind of how Google works. And that's probably another training for another day. But I'm going to end my session here, and I'll leave this up so if someone has questions. But let's move into questions for the last 20 minutes here. So I had Jennifer. Look like you do photography as well as branding. I had Shane and his wife. You guys are looking to do. It was boots, or was it saddles? Or is there a saddle called the boot saddle?
No, it's both. I make custom boots and custom saddles,
okay,
both.
So leatherworking boots and saddles, okay?
Yes.
And was it Angie? Did I get your name right, or was it Allie?
It's Angie.
Okay, I had Angie. You were looking more for SEO and placement.
Well, I'm totally interested in all of it, updating the current Wix website that we have, making us, I guess, Googleable. When somebody searches on Google, they find us.
Okay. And I can show you that on Wix as well, real quick. And then was it Talia? Was I getting that name right, Talia?
Yeah, it's Talia.
Yeah, sorry.
Talia, no, you're good. And you were doing more of an information-based, where you said you were hoping to teach people through your website. Is that right?
Actually, I'm just going to be doing a really basic page where they find out what services I do, because everything I do is like I hire out to do. I don't do it directly on the website, so it can be pretty simple.
Great. Let me show you, Angie, real quick. Let me show you something that you can do on Wix that I don't know if you've done or not. But if you go to menus and pages, and then if you click any of these and go to more, here's the SEO in Google. Oops, sorry, I shouldn't have X'd out of there. Okay, so if anyone's unfamiliar with SEO, it is search engine optimization. And this is how and why websites pull up on top of other websites. So if you type in shoes, Nike might be first, or Adidas might be first, or anyways. SEO is how Google and these search engines, they know you're a real website, and they prioritize you based on how things are built and whatnot. So right here is your preview of what you would look like on a Google search. So if someone typed in Hovenweep or Four Corners, I've got a real basic, thing that shows you the headers, it shows you the link, and then the basic description of that web page within the website. And you can change all of that here. So this is the URL. So it's going to be visitblanding.com/fourcorners-and-more. The and more is that we push Four Corners and Hovenweep on this web page. So I didn't want to mislead anyone by it just being Four Corners, because they might be upset if they get there and it's not the information they're looking for. As you see here, this correlates with the dark blue up here. This basic description of what's on the website is what's down here, and you'll never see all of it, but it's good to have it there because Google will pick up on keywords. And then there's also some advanced options as well as you go through here. You can change things, like if someone shares my link, this will be the image that shows up there, what it will be, what it will say, similar there. And then the advanced options, meta tags and things like that. These are keywords that you can come in and put in, and these will all help your website be found. Typically, if you're trying to do Google Analytics, that's where you'll put in some of their code they'll require so they can track that page. But those are some things you can do to just help your site a little bit more for free on Wix. And like I said, Squarespace and all of them will have a similar option for you to come in here and edit those things. So hopefully that helps a little bit with the SEO.
It really does. I got a message from Google saying the DKIM failed. And so I'm guessing it's probably one of those, did you call it a meta tab? I probably don't have that code in there.
Yes, that would be okay. your snippet. They might say snippet or they might say code, or the meta tag that you copy and paste might be incorrect or not set up as well in your Google. So that tends to happen from time to time. For Shane, for your boot and for your saddle businesses, that's totally out of my wheelhouse. I'm assuming that you don't have necessarily a product line, but those are all relatively custom. Is that correct?
Yeah, but we're also starting to do some wholesale and retail stuff that we'll have a product line for. And we do have a big commerce e-commerce site right now. I just don't like it very well.
Who do you use for that?
Big commerce currently.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
One place you could look at, they don't make the prettiest websites, but they make shopping relatively easy, as Shopify.
That's what I've been told, yeah.
But then it's just as well Wix and Squarespace, where you don't have a ton of product, or if it's like, one product in a few sizes, these might work out well for you. It just depends on, once you have too many things or that you have to change a lot, it makes it harder. But what I would recommend for you on a website, somewhere, I would film some of your work and your processes. And the reason being is that with something as unique as a boot or a saddle, if I'm guessing they're more than the average boot and saddle because they're handmade. And
yes,
I really want to see that process. I'm guessing they want to know who you are, how it's made, where your leather's coming from, why you're better than the other guy that's doing it. And so video and images, and then you might have on your about page your entire story, where you started, what your background is, because that way someone might say, okay, I found your website. Now who are the Dieters? Okay, well, I like them. They're a couple, they're nice, they're from rural Utah. I'm all about supporting rural businesses, but why their product? And then they can go to your product page and watch you work. And this guy is hardworking. They're using, their hands. I like to see that. But visually, it just allows someone to know what it is they're buying because you're building it, and you have a really awesome product that allows you to, take pictures and videos of the steps you're taking. Whether it's getting the stamp on the boot, or the sewing of the sole to the boot, or the straps to the saddle, things like that. Visually, I think people would really like to see that. So whatever you do go with, make sure that you'll have that ability to add lots of imagery and video to your website, because I think people will really appreciate that.
Okay.
And like I said, some of these, they'll charge after $15 a month, you have unlimited storage and it won't matter. And some might charge up to $20 a month for that. It just depends. So that goes back to the research of just finding their plan on their website before you commit. So that always helps.
Shane, do you have the video, like the camera and stuff like that to do the video and stuff?
Yeah, we have a video camera, but our iPhones have turned out to be better than the video cameras.
Okay. My office just ordered the Nikon with the microphones and stuff like that. We've had it for about 90 days. That does some really amazing stuff. So that's something that we could work out as well, to come up and video that, and then Colin could splice that together for you. Okay,
I appreciate that.
Yeah, and it is nice. Almost most of these phones nowadays work to a relatively good level. So it's good that you've got that ability to do that, and then you can just upload it. For me, Talia and Jennifer, you could possibly just do an awesome one-page website. Possibly is what I had in my notes here. For Talia, you said you're trying to kind of sell your services. You could almost build it like a really modern, nice visual resume for people to look at. That could possibly work out well. And that would be a very cheap website to do, that $5 to $10 a month, if that, it might even be closer to free. And then Jennifer, where you do photography and branding, if they're not the same company, you could build two websites, or if you kind of wanted to merge it into one business, you could have a page or two about the photography and then a page or two about the branding and kind of selling yourself and your services there as well. The one thing I learned that blew me away is how many blanding, it's my job to make sure that these blanding businesses are taken care of. Clark's Market on Google had the wrong phone number for over 1 year. So if you were like, hey, I need to call Clark's and see if they're open, and you typed in Clark's Market on Google, it brought up a number that did not work for over a year. And there's only so much you can do. I told them, I mentioned it, and then of course this goes back to them not knowing who set up the Google account or who had the passwords. Then they were again kind of held hostage to changing that information. But that was a good example of a business that, I assume gets close to 20 calls a day, but you had to go to their Facebook, and luckily their Facebook had it, but their Google didn't. Their website had it as well, but some of those continuity things, is really simple to forget about or not know, and it makes it hard for your customers to to contact you. So that would be another one of my recommendations. What else can I answer for you? Don't be afraid to ask. I can show you processes that we've done or things of that nature as well.
Something that I think is important for them to know, because we're in such a digital space for mobile phones, is to make sure when you're putting together your website that you look at both what it looks like on a computer as well as on a mobile phone. And Wix specifically, and I'm sure all the others do, they have both the mobile view and the laptop or PC view. So make sure you take a look at that, because if they can't get the full view on their phone, they're gonna miss something. Or if your website's hard to work with on a phone, it can be really hard, especially if you're in tourism and that's what they're operating off of is on a phone in this area. It can be very difficult.
In a lot of businesses, and thank you for bringing that up. I wrote down mobile and then I forgot to talk about it. At least 50% of your traffic, I'm guessing, no matter who you are, will be on a phone. And these websites allow you to really change quite a bit of stuff. So you can go right here on Wix. there's desktop view, and then there's mobile view. Let that load up. So mobily, you know, it's got kind of an outline of a phone here. But if you were to land on this page, that's kind of how it will look. If you scroll through that. And some of the features are different, you know what I mean? They'll simplify some things, but overall you can kind of see what it would look like if you're on a phone. Up here I have a mobile menu. So if I went to stay, you know, here's my lodging partners that they can book now, you know, making it a quick, easy step. But yeah, so for example, this would be one, for whatever reason, that this is an error on my web page. My image is too small here. It should be the same size as these. So I have one issue to fix here, but things like this, you know, just where they can get tire changes. But yeah, mobile friendly definitely makes a big difference when it comes to some of this stuff. Oops. Can you guys still see me?
Yep.
Okay. Let me go back. We've optimized the Blanding City webpage quite a bit as well for mobile. There's quite a few, typically a lot of things we post on Facebook, so people are scrolling and then they click the link. And we try to make it really easy for them to use mobily, but sorry, it's just taking a minute to load here. Okay. So my menu, you know, you can see here, my menu is a little different. My menu is different on this screen than some of my other ones, but again, we just kept it really simple. You know, click those links. It'll take you to different places. Tried to keep the font at a certain size so people could read. And then again, just the links and similar things to that. So yeah, thank you for bringing that up, Megan. Mobile design is, you know, that's another one of those things that it allows you to be relatively custom on Wix, and where you can be custom and change fonts and colors and things like that. You can have one layout for desktop and tablet view and a whole different layout for mobile view to make it easier for people. So.
Hey, Pratt, on your Blanding City website that you're on now, on your about and services, those tabs across the top on your header, when you click on services, it brings down, you know, many things that you can choose from. Where in the setup do you have that linking to that page?
So this, so these, are you asking me how come it's different from like the other menus?
No, so if you click on that, on any of those tabs, Wellness Center, it's going to take you to the Wellness Center page. So where is that set up on your pages?
So it'll be in your, so these are what's called a light box.
Okay.
They're a relatively customized menu And so then within there.
Is that an app? Lightbox?
A Lightbox, yep. So,
okay.
So you set up a Lightbox, and it other triggers when someone opens a website or clicks the link. And then within the Lightbox, I've added, 18 buttons. And then in the button itself, you can link it. I've got to exit this real quick. Let me go back to here and show you. So in here you go to Lightboxes, and I have my online services one. And so the Lightbox is this white area. If you can see my mouse, it's just that white area. And then within the Lightbox, I added buttons. And then the button yourself, you can customize. You can take it to pages, links, documents, and then change the text. And then you can change the actual design and layouts right here, if that makes sense.
Okay, yeah.
So I've got, so within my Lightboxes, I have the government, the services, the how do I, and then the departments, contacts, and about, because they're just one page, those are just a button that's linked to those pages. But then, for example, this COVID, when that was going on, I set this up so that it would trigger whenever someone landed on a page. I can click yes or no right there. So if I click yes and hit save, whenever you type in blanding.city, this would pop up as soon as you came to the website. So you'll see that on websites quite often. You'll be there for 5 to 15 seconds, and like a theme will pop up, and it'll say like, hey, do you need help? Or hey, we have a sale. That's what that is a Lightbox. But then I set up a custom Lightbox to be these buttons, these 3 buttons. So
okay.
And if you wanted to meet with me sometime, we could go over that, and I could show you how to do that. So
okay. One other question too. Is there an easy way to change your template on Wix?
No. As far as I know, that would be something you could YouTube.
Okay.
Just like changing my Wix template. Unless it's changed in the last year, I tried to change a template, and it changed all the background colors, and it didn't change my images and stuff, but what it changed was my layout and my background colors to all my buttons and everything to fit that theme. And I had to go back in and change all of that.
Okay. All right.
So it's almost worth it to stay on the template you're on, but then just fully customize it to fit another template that you found.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. Thank you.
Hey, look, right here's a spelling error that we were talking about. And oddly enough, I use Grammarly, so I'm shocked that was there because I usually use my themes. But anyways, just a heads up, we had a spelling error on a page that's visited very often. So, okay, anything else? Okay, my email is predd@blanding.city. If you guys have any questions, feel free to email me, or Megan can put you in contact with me as well. Anything that I offer from Blanding City is free for businesses. I can help with website questions, things like that. So if you have any questions, please let me know. And thank you all for coming tonight. And I'm going to stop my screen share and log out if that's all right, Megan.
That's great. Thanks, Pratt. Thanks everybody for coming tonight. We Thanks, Pratt, for all the hard work you put in on this. Website development is one of those beasts that we all have to take care of, and it can be confusing. And I've done it many times, and I did WordPress on all of mine, and I wish Wix, when I first started, was available, because Wix is so much easier, and it gives so many more opportunities, and templates, and so much is there. So we really appreciate Pratt for going through all of this. Next week's class is actually on SEO, and understanding SEO, and I've asked Pat and Raj to go over Google Analytics and how to do that, and the different SEO search engines that they use and things like that. BC Solutions is out of New York. They're a Forbes 500 company that does major SEOs. And so really excited that they're taking the time to come and teach us next week. So bring your SEO questions next week. Every single week we've had SEO questions. So next week you've got the experts in front of you on SEOs. And they are absolutely incredible. So I'm looking forward to next week. So make sure you come with all of your questions so they will be answered at that point in time. You guys have a wonderful night. I'll get the replay out to you on YouTube as soon as I get it up tomorrow. And you guys have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.